Hey everybody, welcome to the live stream. It is another Sunday live stream. Somehow I've made 3 of these in a row now. See a few people in here already. Apache Smoke Wounded Snipers in here. Fun per Volt, Ethan W, King Keck the channel. What's up everybody? Thanks for getting in here early. You guys have been chatting it up in there for a while, talking about Apache's good use of emojis. Apache's good with emojis. He's always been good with emojis. How is my knee doing? Apache says. It's all right. I'm walking with a cane now, so that's nice. I don't have a walker or a cane. It just hurts really bad. So I'm just dealing with it. I was able to take 1 day work from home last week, so I did that. And hopefully next week I can work the whole week without having to be such a pansy. But we'll see. I have a MRI scheduled for it in November. So we'll see just how bad it is in November. But yeah. Well, we'll see who all shows up to this one. I've got some cool stuff for us today. I have finished the Grinderino build. Well, almost finished it. I haven't totally finished it. Today we're going to power it up for the first time with a LiPo. I'm going to do that live, so you can see if it burns up right on the bench. But before we do burn it up on the bench, I'm going to show you how to use a multimeter to determine if your build is good before you plug it back into it. So we're going to do that with the Grinderino build today. I have a bunch of other stuff done to it that I haven't shown anybody yet, so you guys are going to be the first ones to see it. Yeah, it's going to be good. You might laugh at what I've done to this thing, and I can absolutely tell you that you should never build your Grinderino the way I have built my Grinderino. Let us be free to fly FPV. What's up? Dixie McGee in the house. Bought some shoes from a dealer. I don't know what he laced them with, but I've been tripping all day. Wow. That's not even on my level. That's beyond my level. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. That's a whole new class of dad joke where it's almost not even a dad joke, but I read it. I should have read it before I read it out loud. All right. Well, we've been here for a couple minutes. Some people have showed up. I'm going to go ahead and show you guys what I have done to the Grinderino. Yeah, it looks like this now. So last time you saw it, it was just a frame and a VTX. The Grinderino now has fists for punching on all 4 corners. That's why the name of the stream is Fists for Punching, because I have drawn, designed, and printed fists to go on the corner of your Grinderino build. These are a little bit big. They are just first draft. They did take some inspiration from another arm design, another arm end design, but I'm going to redraw it actually because I don't like it that much. I thought I was going to, and it's just too sloppy. So I'm going to redraw the whole thing. But at some point, you'll be able to get fists for punching on the end of your Grinderino. I also I designed this back part too. So yeah, I've got all the TPU in. I've got the camera mounts done. It all matches. It is very, very, very pink. Yeah, but these were a pain to draw. I will say that. Absolutely a pain to draw. But we're going to tear it up in a minute, and we're going to voltage check it before we power it up. This has never been powered on, so we're going to do that on the bench today, just in case it catches fire. I know how much you guys would like to see fire, but I'm going to use a smoke stopper before we do it because I don't want to burn it up. And then I'm going to show you a bunch of reasons why you shouldn't do what I did with it, because it's not good. It's not good at all. You should never build your Grinderino the way I built my Grinderino. What's up, Crash and Burn FPV? Prop Junkie, William Tam. Let's see who else. Let's see who else got in here in the last few minutes. Kirikos. Awesome. What's up? 3 in a row. You made 3 in a row, and I have done 3 in a row. Don't expect the 3 in a row thing to continue for me, because I keep doing these on Sundays and it keeps working out. But I guarantee you there's going to come a time where that does not work out. And I totally miss it. And then once I've missed one, it's just going to be straight down the tubes. What's up, Trey Cook? Trey Cook's in here. All right, we're going to start taking the top off this Grinderino. We're going to take its top off. And we're going to start probing it with things, because that's what you should do. All right, so I'm going to add that, and you're going to have my laptop in the shot because I have retired this mouse from last stream. This mouse is what destroyed my stream, and I'm never going to touch it again. So we are safe from the accidental back button now. But it does mean I have to use my laptop's touchpad. What's up, Jim's RC World? And Naki D. Let's see. John Coopy's in the house. Rob Groove. Nice to see you all. Let's get the top off this Grinderino because these fists for punching need to be powered up for the first time. Yeah, and while I'm in here, I'm going to show you a bunch of reasons why you should never use the exact parts that I used for this build. Oh, Prop Junkie says, recently lost their Demibot. Like, lost as in destroyed it, or lost as in physically gone forever, we'll never see it again. Trey Cook has a Grinderino that was supposed to arrive Friday. Having a hard time picking some motors. I like these motors. I wouldn't necessarily recommend everyone buy these motors. These are the RC Power. I believe they're 1506. Let me double check. Yeah, 1506, 3000 kV. They're a little bit more expensive than you actually need. If you wanted to do like a T-motor 1604, it doesn't even have to be a T-motor. I believe Diatone has some good options in some of the same stator sizes in their Toka line. And they are, oh, I'll throw that. And they are significantly cheaper for sure. My wife is in the chat. She will be watching all of your comments today and then reporting on your activity at the end of this stream. Mostly over dinner. Let's see. Kiv. Pretty new to FPV. Recently got my first drone. Still have to solder. Solder tracer in any tips. Oh, you got a solder tracer in. Any tips? Yes. Lots of tips. Heat is your friend with a soldering iron. You want to make sure that you have a sufficient amount of heat, but not too much. Knowing what that is takes time. You also want to make sure that you clean your tip with something like a brass brush and flux. There's flux at the bottom of this. You'll want to do that. You'll also want to make sure you flux your pads, because if you don't flux your pads, solder will stick, but it will not stick nearly as nicely as if you used flux. So flux, the right amount of heat. Don't solder too cold. Don't solder too hot. The right size tip. If you're soldering small pads like on a flight controller, you can get away with a chisel tip that comes out to a fairly fine point. If you're going to be soldering stuff that's wider, like XT60 leads, then normally a chunkier tip is way more important because you want to have enough surface area. So it's something you'll get used to in time. After you've soldered a whole lot, you'll get used to what does what and how it goes. But some tips, definitely, if you take nothing else, definitely clean tip and use flux. Those are the two biggest things you can do. Yeah, Fun Per Bolt even agrees. Heat, speed, and flux, flux, flux. Flux, flux, flux. Rick James, FPV, smells bacon. Diatone Toka 1404 3000s. They do work well. I'm just not a fan of 1404 on a heavier 3.5 inch, but it is also the way I fly. If I flew a lighter 3.5 inch, I'd probably be okay with a 1404. Mystery, not missing the stream this time. What's up? Yeah. I remember you wrote in the comments on the last one. All right. I've got my probes. Let's probe it. And I've got my old, very old multimeter. So if we have a short, we should hear it. The first thing I'm going to do is check continuity between my mains, which I'm going to have to spin it all the way the freak around because, you know. Well, good news is between my black wire and my red wire, there's no continuity. This is the most simple basic test you should always do in lieu of just slapping a smoke stopper on and hoping it works. My wife says, watch the button. I got rid of the button, babe. I have unplugged it. All right, so you can see I don't have a beep, and we would be beeping if I did. So that's a very good sign that I don't have a general short in this thing. But I'm going to go over here and check all of my connections for things like the ELRS receiver. I'm going to touch the hot side and make sure I don't have any continuity with ground. I'm going to touch the ground side and make sure I don't have any continuity with hot. But I do have continuity with ground. So this ground pad is working because it's connected to the ground lead. That's perfectly good. And then there's some under here I can kind of probe through. That's my UART there. All right. I would say, based on having done the, just general battery lead continuity test, that's the minimum you should do when checking a brand new build, is that. Even if you don't have a smoke stopper, if you have one of these in the continuity mode, definitely slap your probes on there and see if it beeps. Now, that being said, if it does have a cap on it, there's a good chance the first time you slap these probes on your main lead, it's going to beep. And it's going to beep for 2 or 3 seconds and then maybe stop. If it beeps longer than 10 seconds, you have a short. If it beeps less than 10 seconds, it's just the capacitor charging, and you need to just keep holding it there. And then if it does continue to beep 10 seconds, take it off and put it back. And if it doesn't beep again, you don't have a short. But that first one's always a false positive if you've never charged the cap before, and it will get you every time. All right. Let's Be Free has says Diatone Roma F35 has a 2203.5. That's a big motor for 3.5 inch though. It'd be a lot of power. A whole lot of power. Let's see. Man, I can't pronounce this name. Kanagita channel. I can't pronounce that. I am terrible with pronunciations. It is not your fault. I'm not trying to do that on purpose. I can't read. That's my problem. Just say hi. What's up? Thanks for stopping by. I appreciate it. Mystery asks how my leg is doing. My knee specifically, the entire leg though. Yeah, it's doing better. I'm walking around. I'm hobbling. It hurts real bad. I can't sleep, but it's okay. It's getting better. Yeah, my wife says I'm still walking like an old man. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Still walking like an old man. Okay, so we have continuity check this. It has all of the fancy things on it. Let's plug a LiPo into it. Is there enough people here to watch this burn to the ground? If it does, it won't burn to the ground. We just continuity tested it. So there shouldn't be a problem. There shouldn't be. And then I'm going to go over all the reasons why you should not build it the way I built it, because the way I built it is terrible. I'm going to take my smoke stopper. This is the cheapest possible smoke stopper you can own. I'm going to take this one, plug it into here, and then I'm going to plug a 4S pack into this quad. Even though I've designed it for 6S voltage, I start with the smallest pack I have that'll power it because, if it does short, this will do slightly less damage. All right, let's see. Let's plug it in. It powers up. What do you know? It's like our continuity check was appropriate. And everything looks good. Lots of lights. I see lights on the HD0 system. I see the appropriate lights on my ELRS receiver down there. Yep, it all looks good. I'd say we built a quad, and it didn't burn to the ground. I've actually never burned up a quad on plug-in. And I've built, 100 of them now, and I have never, ever burned one up on plug-in because I always check it with a multimeter first. You could always check it with a multimeter, just in case. It's always important. Oh, Let's Be Free says it says, can I get a channel? That makes sense. Yeah, even my wife corrected me. You know it's bad when your wife is correcting your reading on live streams. Story of my life. All right, so now that we know it powers up, why no walk snail system is promised, says Mystery. Because you can do a walk snail system. I chose not to do a walk snail system, mostly because I wanted low latency on this. You can totally do a walk snail system, but let me just clarify some things here. You should not use this AIO with big VTXs in your Grinderino build, because as you can see here, there's no room for the USB to connect to a USB cable unless you flip it all the way around. So if you're going to use this, you have to make sure that your orientation for USB is toward the front instead of toward the back like I have mine, because you cannot plug a cable in if you're going to run a Vista or the HD0 1-watt VTX. Now, if you're going to run the walk snail, then you might be able to stack it on top of this. I chose not to do that though, because I want to run double battery straps. So I wanted to have space. So you could either stack it here or you could put it here very carefully, but you'd be better off running a 20 by 20 stack than running a 25 by 25 if you're going to run a digital system, because all the digital VTXs take up slightly more room. The HD01, although it is the same size as the Vista, is going to cram in there right behind that 25 by 25 diamond. And yeah, there's not a whole lot of clearance here. In fact, I couldn't really even get the cap in. So I have the cap sticking out. Can you see it on film there? Yeah, film. It's 1995. There's no film anymore. What the hell am I talking about? You see the cap there sticking out the arm. Now I have made sure it doesn't interfere with the props. It is not in the prop line. I could have put it on top of the main lead, but I chose to do that because I am not running a BEC. So this HD0 VTX is rated for 25 volts. And there's not a BEC on board this AIO strong enough to give me 9 volts at the 15 watts I need. There's only a 5 volt 3 amp and it's shared. So that's 15 watts. That's right at exactly what I need. If I go any higher, like it's too hot outside or something like that, my VTX is going to brown out. So instead of doing that, I'm going off pack voltage. And that means I'm running 6S directly into this HD0 VTX, which means that if I have a spike, I am immediately going over the rated voltage. So I had to make a decision, and I decided to put the cap very near the mains leads to protect myself from spikes. Definitely. Mystery asks if I'll fly it in a live stream. Maybe, because I do have the HD0 goggles now where I can do that. So possibly I will find it. I will fly it on a live stream. Global source. I brown out after Taco Bell. You're not alone, brother. We all brown out after Taco Bell. But yeah, definitely run a 20 by 20 stack instead of this Argus AIO if you're not going to do analog. Or just understand that you're going to have to put the USB facing forward, and that means everything like your ELRS connections and your digital VTX plug is going to be facing the rear, which is fine, except for you don't have a ton of room between anything and anything to be running cables. Now, if they made this, I don't know, another 8 millimeters longer in the rear direction and gave us a little bit more distance, then maybe we'd be able to run a 25 by 25 with something else. But if you're going to run a 25 by 25, think about definitely what VTX you're going to run. Because I didn't. I just knew what I wanted to do, and by God, I threw it in there. And however it came out is... Anyway, it can be done if you want to deal with all the headache. But I just wanted it to be all aluminum coated and pretty. And that is exactly what is happening. Cheap Kaju. Dang, I try to be minimal with TPU. But those arms are effing sweet. Yeah, they are. As soon as I saw the Grinderino with the pink, and I'm like, I got to design feet, because there weren't very many feet designs for this that had something to land on that wasn't going to scratch up your screws. I'm like, I'm just going to make it a fist for punching. And that's exactly what I did. And yeah, I'm probably going to wind up selling the STL, and well, I might give away some of the STLs, but some of the STLs that I'm making for this, I'll probably sell as a pack. And who knows, I may print them and sell them too. If you need printing done, I might be able to do that, because I have some other printing stuff coming up, and we're thinking about starting up a family printing business where we can all contribute to earning more income, because it's 2023 and everyone needs a side hustle. I'm not going to take money from vendors to tell you about their stuff, but I will take money to send you TPU parts. I feel like at least you get something out of that. Mystery asks how much it will weigh. I can tell you that dry right now, as it sets with all my chunk TPU on it, it is 248 grams. So it will not weigh 250 with a pack on it. However, I'm going to be making 2 sets of TPU for this. One will totally minimize the amount of weight. So if you decide to run a smaller AIO or a 20 by 20 stack that weighs less than this chunky thing with aluminum on it, and you want to still protect it with feet and have an antenna mount in the back that is somewhat substantial, I will make a reduced version of the TPU that will help you get the weight down. So there will be an option to be able to do sub 250 on this. So, but yeah, it is not going to be a 250 gram build natively. These alone are 10 grams each. They're too big though. These are not the final design. My goal is to get them down to about 7 maximum. They're way too large. I need to make them much smaller. They are excessive and they don't fit right. So I will get them smaller before anybody touches them, I promise. It won't be 10 grams out on the end of your arms for each one. But I'm going to fly it that way because I can. All right. Who else jumped in? Who did I miss? Have I missed anybody? Bitterroot's here. Did I say Bitterroot earlier? What's up, Bitterroot? Global Source. They browned out after Taco Bell. I remember Global Source. That's a comment that you can't forget. Global Source is browning out after Taco Bell. Call them bacon wraps, Global Sauce says. Source. Sauce? I can't read again. I'm telling you, I'm too far from the screen, but I don't want to look down at my laptop because then you see me looking down all the time. So I'm going to struggle over there. Bacon wraps. I thought about calling it like Bacon Labs or something like that. I don't know. We might wrap stuff in bacon. Who knows? Every order might come with 3D printed strips of bacon. I don't know. But what I do know is that I've got some new printers that make that possible. These are really, really clean prints. And I am kind of amazed at how easy it is to print cleanly with the equipment now. So I'm definitely going to be drawing stuff, though. I draw a bunch of STLs that you guys never see. Like I do a whole bunch of 3D modeling that I never show anybody. So I figured, why not show you guys some of the 3D modeling that I do and let you get your hands on it if you want it. So, yeah. Matt Freeman is here. Likes the build. Thanks, Matt. I appreciate that. Cliff Field. Bacon rind. For the outside. Yeah. Like bacon rind. I'm thinking that maybe I could do some motor protectors or something that actually look like bacon. I would really love, so you know how God has Grip, right? I would love to collaborate with Tommy Tabahia to make it in a series of colors that made it look like bacon. Come on, Tommy, call me. Let's make Grip in a tricolor where it is a bacon strip on top of your quad. I think that would be great. I want to do it so bad. My wife says she likes pork punch. Not something you want your wife to say on a live stream. Crash and Burn, the bacon farm. Yeah, the bacon farm. That could be cool too. We got to think about the names. It's just something we're looking at. We used to have a large format laser. We still have a large format laser in an Etsy shop, and my wife did all that. And it was a whole crap load of work, but that was like in 2020 during the pandemic, and we got out of that. But now it's time to start something else up. She's home during the day. She takes care of the kids, and it'd be cool to get together on doing something to add a little bit of stability to how we pay for groceries in 2023, because it is insane. Sunrise Media. Are your HD goggles there with you to stay? Yes. If you'd noticed from the video today, I did it on the HD0 programmer, and I showed a set of HD0 goggles. I finally got a set of HD0 goggles. It only took me 8 months to work out how to get them, and I finally got them. So I had to send mine back in February of this year. So I haven't had a set of HD0 goggles since February, and I just now got another set the other day. Hence why there is a 1 watt V2 in this, because I want to use those goggles more. And I kind of think low latency would be really good for a freestyle basher. So yeah, took me a long time though. A long time to get those goggles. Everybody was complaining about having to wait a month when they ordered them. I had to wait 8 months. It was an 8-month wait. Yeah, Apache says, I would run that bacon lipo strip. I know. So many people would love a bacon lipo strip. I'm telling you, if anybody knows Tommy Tabahia, I know he has no idea who I am. Please ask him to to deal with us lowly people and make a bacon strip. Please. It needs to happen. Otherwise, I'm going to have to buy a bunch of these and just get my kids out with Sharpies to make them look like bacon and resell them with Sharpie all over. That's what I may have to do. It might happen. Some of these comments I'm not going to read. There are things happening in this chat. For sure. What is this gamble thing, Market Zero? What are you gambling? What are you gambling 100,000 about? I've seen this happen on live streams before, but I am inept when it comes to how live streams work outside of being on this side of them. So I don't know what any of that is, but I don't like to put money in slot machines. I can tell you that. So how many of you out there are building a Grinderino? I know that a few of you are. I also know that people have been asking me about the build video for the Grinderino, and that is coming. I will not be doing it with this necessarily. I think the way I'm going to do it is with a series that shows you how to do a lot of things on it, but then recommends what you do for this kind of stuff and has diagrams of how you might go about it. But I can't show every variation. But I want to give people 2 or 3 options because there's a lot of different ways to build it. So you might want a sub 250. You might want a super heavy basher. You might want to throw as much aluminum and protection in it as you can, like I have. There's a bunch of different ways. So KB Cart says he's building one. What's up? Yeah, I think a lot of people are building the Grinderino. I was excited that Bot let me build it. He sent me this frame, thank goodness, or else I would still be waiting to build it probably till late next year. But Bot's an awesome dude. He sent me that. So I figured I had to do him justice and just make it as insane as possible. And that's what I've done, but it's not what you should do with your build. You should definitely go a little more mild and reasonable. Mine is too crazy. My daughter says she's eating Cheeto puff corn because that is definitely worthy of a comment in a live stream. My daughter loves Cheeto puff corn. If you haven't had Cheeto puff corn, it is one of the cheapest ways to put Cheeto dust in your mouth, and also the lowest carb way she can find. And since she's diabetic, it's important. So she's enjoying her puff corn. Oh, yeah. 90% sure you have to watch Infinity Loops to figure it out. I love Infinity Loops. I watch a lot of their videos, but their live streams I always seem to miss. I always miss live streams because I'm either making videos or designing new STLs or all kinds of other stuff. So I very rarely get to see anyone's live streams, and Infinity Loops is one of those. They do a whole bunch of stuff like where they're playing simulator, really, really cool things that I would love to catch in with, but I just can't. I can't. I love to make videos too much. KB Cart says they put Cheeto popcorn on their sandwiches. Wow. That's smart. That is living in the future right there. Puffcorn on a sandwich. Global Store civil straps. Yes, I'm telling you, there's a whole line. There's a whole line of the products that can be. I don't even want my name on it. I just want it to look like bacon so that I can use it because it looks like bacon. There's a whole line of FPV. It's ripe for the picking in FPV. We should absolutely have way more of it than we already do. Oh yeah, King Keck the channel. It's not what he's doing on the streams. It's the chat. Yeah, I think I've noticed that in the replays that I do watch a little bit of. So yeah, it's the chat. But he seems like a cool guy, and he is crazy with freaking small quads, man. I do not practice with small quads nearly enough to be as good as Infinity Loops is. Not even close. He does some crazy stuff. Cool Cat. What the devil is going on here? Bacon. Yes, lots of bacon. Bacon everywhere. I'm saying we should make bacon battery straps, bacon battery pads, bacon props. There should be bacon flavored. And yes, it should be flavored. If you lick your battery pad, it should taste like bacon. That's what I'm saying. The world needs more bacon scented, flavored, and featured things. I don't even want the money. Just make it look like bacon, and I will put it on my stuff. I don't even put my name on it. I just want the stuff to look like bacon. It has to happen. KB Cart. Get your frame wrapped like they do cars, but it looks like bacon. Bacon warp wrap. You could hydro dip it. I thought about hydro dipping a frame in the bacon print hydro dip. I just don't know. I don't know if it would hold up very well. I think it would scratch. I think there have been some hydro dip frames before, but maybe I'll do it. Maybe I'll see. I think you can get hydro dip stuff fairly cheap if you do it in small. Like you can just do it in a bucket of water with the spray and one roll of stuff, and you don't got to own a bunch of things. But I bet I can make it look terrible. If anybody can make a hydro dip look terrible, I can. Yeah, global source bacon blade props. Yeah, let us be free. Bacon flavored vape. No, no, we don't need any of that. That would be disgusting. That would be super disgusting. This is, I don't even know what this is. I usually use mint, but we've run out, so I'm borrowing some fruity stuff. And yeah, I understand this is a problem, and I should not be doing this, but I'm going to do this anyway. And it's fruity, if you guys are wondering. Dozer says if you clear coat it, if you clear coat over the hydro dip, yeah, that's probably. I'm thinking though that with a frame, so if you try to come in level, you're probably going to get the bottom really well, but it might turn the corners of the arms and things and rip. And I don't know how well I'll be able to get the top. Now, I'm sure there's an appropriate angle where you can do that better, but having zero experience with it, I'm going to have to watch a lot of YouTube videos and figure out what that is. King Keck says, if we make bacon in this house, an additional pack gets cooked up just so I can sit and munch a plate of that stuff to myself. Yeah, like a king. Like a king, Keck. Plate of bacon on your own, just sitting around munching it. I like my bacon extra crispy, obviously, because, a million people have asked me. I also don't mind it if it has been put in the fridge and you eat it the next day, just cold, straight out of the fridge, crispy. That is good bacon. That is good bacon. Trey Cook, I thought about painting and coating a quad in epoxy resin. You totally can. You totally can do that. The painting bit is not difficult. The epoxy resin bit would be, because things like arm joints, it's going to seep into that, and you're probably going to have a long-term issue. But if you're careful with where you do it, they'd probably be fine. And expect that if you ever have to change an arm or something, you're going to fight it real hard. But it'd probably be just fine. I know a ton of people paint them. They use paint pins a lot of times. I thought about actually paint pinning this one some turquoise around the edge to get it a little less pink and a little more pink turquoise. But I also know I'd scratch it off pretty easy. But something like a epoxy overcoat would probably be good. Of course, you could just clear coat spray it too, and it'd probably protect pretty well. So, yeah. King Keck, my favorite vape juice is a breakfast flavor or banana cream flavor. Bacon and maple would be good. Okay, yes, but it has to be maple. Like if it's maple, man, I had to move my leg. If it's maple flavored bacon, maybe, but it'd be mostly because of the maple. It wouldn't be just the bacon. If all you do is inhale the bacon flavor, like the meaty nitrates, that would get old super fast. But with the maple, okay, I could see it with the maple. Nasty FPV, what's up? What's up? You people joining in here. I don't think I missed anybody else. Not so far. Jeremy Stone. I see Jeremy Stone now. What's up? Hey, it said one of my ELRS videos was very helpful. Or I read very. I'm reading it wrong. Really helped me out the other day. I wanted to say thank you. I am so glad it helped you out. I get a few comments a week about my ELRS videos and how they've helped somebody figure something out after they've been trying for a while. And that is exactly why I made them. Because I know that exact thing happens. And I am so happy to hear that it helped. That people are getting use out of it for sure. Yeah, Trey Cook says, I didn't think about changing parts. I don't crash anyway. I don't crash anyway. Proof. Video or it didn't happen. Video of you never crashing. I want videographic evidence of every flight you've ever had never ending in a crash. I don't believe you. If you fly, you crash. It happens. What's up, Monkey D? Borked. You're late. Yes. Daily walk with Ma. Well, that's good for you. I don't go on daily walks, which is probably why I hurt myself so badly. King Kick. That's not hard. The magic of editing makes it so nobody ever crashes. I edit my videos and I still show you my crashes because I think it's more fun. But you're right. A lot of people cut their crashes out. I need raw videographic evidence, unaltered. I'm going to look at the metadata from the GoPro to prove that you never crash. Sunrise. I never crash. I only land hard. That's a good distinction. That's about as close as I will believe. I believe you because that makes sense. What's up, H2O? You're a little late, but it's okay. I forgive you. No, it's fine. Everybody coming in late. I know it's on a Sunday and, it's kind of a weird time. And when Joshua Bardwell gets back to streaming, I'm pretty sure everybody's going to be watching his and no one will hang out here. But I'm still going to do it because it's been a lot of fun. So we're just going to chill. We're just going to chill here and talk about random crap and look at stupid 3D prints that I made for my quads and explain why I made stupid decisions when building them so that you don't make those stupid decisions. Because really, everything I do is about saving you from bad decisions I've made. My entire channel is focused around saving you from bad decisions that I have personally made. Ian Walton, landing upside down is my specialty. That's talent. Landing upside down. Normally, do you land upside down or do you land in a roll that winds up upside down? There is a distinction. Trey Cook, when I do crash, it's not my fault. That's okay. Yeah. Bacon for life, Monkey D. When I do crash, it's not my fault, says Trey Cook. I think, with this, you might need an intervention, Trey. We might have to do a live intervention right here on the stream. It may have to happen. Everybody start writing your intervention letters about how Trey's non-acceptance of his crashing impacts your life so that we can help him understand how his actions affect others. No, we're not really going to do it. Yeah, let's see. King Keck says he'd still hang out even after the Bardwell streams come back. I miss Bardwell streaming. I always like to watch his streams. Like I put the audio on in the background while I work sometimes. So I haven't had any new Bardwell talking in the background of my work days. But he should be back in November, which is in a little bit, a couple more weeks. So Global Store, Sizzle Sticks, controller stick-ins. I thought about, because I have resin printers, I thought about printing resin bacon-shaped stick-ins. And then I thought, how unergonomic would a bacon-shaped stick-in be? Terribly unergonomic. But then I thought, it doesn't have to be bacon-shaped. I can shape the stick-in however I want. But the normal stippling that you do to a stick-in, right? So you make it pointy so it's grippy. Rather than stipple it with weird pointy things or random shapes, I can stipple it with bacon, small little printouts of bacon. And there would be bacon all over the stick-in regardless of the shape of it. So it could still be ergonomically functional and would still have little pictures of bacon all over it. And then I didn't do it because it seemed like way too much effort. And I thought, nobody's going to want this. So I didn't do it. HB cart, I don't fly. I fall in style. Yeah, all you got to do is put the wings out. You got to put the wings out. Trey Cook crashed into a track hoe yesterday, to be honest. There we go. There's the honesty. Into a track hoe, though. How did you manage that? Was the track hoe, whose fault was it? Yours or the track hoe's? Did the track hoe run into you or did the quad run into the track hoe? And was the track hoe stationary? I've crashed into a track hoe too. I've crashed into a track hoe, a scissor lift, a skyjack, a whole bunch of things. Into, underneath, got caught in. I've done it all. Yeah. Track hoes and other heavy equipment tend to really want to grab your quad out of the air. For sure. Hobby Howie FPV. Yeah, it's all right. You're late. What program do I edit with? I'm guessing you meant video editing. I use Adobe Premiere Pro. It's not the best. It is good for what it does. I think it crashes a lot and it's slow and it's a headache a lot of times and the workflow is terrible. And I have thought a ton of times about going to DaVinci Resolve. But then again, I have access to the Adobe suite of products in a way that would make DaVinci Resolve cost more immediately. So, yeah, I don't. But someday I will transition to DaVinci Resolve. But for now, I'm still on the Adobe stuff because I still need Photoshop and everything anyway. I feel like, you always need Photoshop no matter what you're doing. I couldn't have made that thumbnail with my abs out the other day because those don't exist. I don't know if you know this, but I don't have real abs. Those don't exist. So I had to Photoshop those on, and I could not have done it if I was just using DaVinci Resolve and didn't have any of the Adobe suite. But let's be free to fly. You're the better looking version of Blenty. I don't know about that. Blenty's a good looking guy. Oh no, I clicked the wrong one. It skipped over. No, I keep hitting the wrong one. There we go. There's the right one. I had to keep scrolling up. Yeah, no, Blenty's a good looking guy. Come on, he's got that long hair, massive beard. Yeah. Global Source, just sell normal prints at decent prices with the Bacon brand. Yeah, I think I will. I want to sell, I want to sell not normal prints, but like weird stuff too. I want to sell weird stuff and normal stuff. You have the option to be weird or totally normal. And I also have some ideas for using a very exotic material that we do not use currently in FPV for making, and no, it's not resin, for making things like camera mounts that may mean that you never have to buy another one. It's kind of my goal with the printing is that I can make a mount that you can take off of one quad, put it on another quad of a totally different type, and you only need a very cheap small piece to do it. And even if you crash it, you never lose it, break it, rip it, tear it, none of that stuff. So that you can basically own one per camera and just take it wherever you want relatively cheap. That's what I want to do. But I'm a long ways out from being able to do that. I have drawings and designs and all that stuff, but I have a long line of product testing before I can ever get there. But that is my end goal, is to make this stuff out of things and in a way where you can have one GoPro Hero 10 mount and slide it onto any quad you have in a particular way that will still hold it, even in a crash, and hold it at whatever angle you want, and is not a GoPro mount, because those GoPro mounts suck when you get in a crash and they wobble and wiggle. Anyway, I digress. That's my long-term plan with that stuff. Shower Sham, what's up? Flush FPV, how's it going? Blush. Oh, my comment stopped loading because I was trying to scroll up. I miss my mouse with the button. I miss my accidental backup mouse because now I'm using a touch mouse. Ugh. Oh, Global Source doesn't need to be sure in bacon design. No, I know. Not everything's going to have bacon on it. Most things, in fact, will not have bacon on it. But the prints will be good quality. It will be well tested. It will work. And yeah, it won't be something that you have to mess with at home. Exactly. Sunrise. I feel disillusioned now knowing those abs were fake. I'm sorry to disappoint you, but those abs were not my abs. I'm sorry. I don't possess the kind of muscle tone to raise my shirt up and anything like that come out. Too much breakfast meats in my life for that. Way too much. King Keck. I got washboard abs. There's just laundry in there right now. I like it. I'm going to use that. I'm going to use it. Ian Walton, magnets. Are you talking about my my variable mounting pattern design? No magnets involved. In fact, I have a lot of industrial design sketches and 3D models to go through, but I'm almost there with it, actually. Almost there. Let us be free to fly. 2 guys, 1 bacon. That sounds like a fight in an alleyway to me. there's only one strip of bacon, 2 dudes are fighting over it, it's going to be in an alleyway. Probably, I don't know. I'd say in the morning because that's when breakfast is, but I'd fight a dude in an alleyway over a strip of bacon anytime. And I'd lose, but at least I'd have, tried. Definitely. Rick James, I have a keg instead of a 6-pack. The whole keg, man. But do you tap it? Do you tap that keg? Does anybody do a stand on it? That's the question. I mean, anybody keg standing on your keg there? Probably not. That'd be weird, right? I don't know. I had a mental vision of it, and it probably should have never came out of my mouth. Anyway, so if you're just now joining in, yeah, this is done. Let's put the top plate on it because I still need to attach this. I'm going to figure out how I want this to run, and that's going to need some sizing with packs. So I'm going to get the top plate back on it and then try to determine how I actually want to hold down this wire. I have some choices about it coming out either to the left or the right. At the moment, I think I'm thinking tucked under in the left, but yeah. Global source. How long do you see a frame from me? A long time. A long time. I won't put a frame out unless I really, really, really think it's a differentiated thing. There is no way in hell I will put my name on a product and make money off it just because it says my name on it from endorsements. Nope. And honestly, when it comes to frames, there's not a whole lot left to do. Most frames are very good. There's some things like, let's take this Grinderino, for example. In the 3.5-inch class, things that you would consider a bashing frame, there's not a ton. I mean, you've got fly fishes 3.5, but there's mostly in 3.5, you start to kind of feel like toothpick style flight. So this frame makes sense because it is a more hefty, more freestyle oriented design for a 3.5-inch quad. But now that Bot Grinder has done this and, oh my God, is selling them, I don't want to make one because this one exists unless there's some fatal flaw with something that exists. So yeah, probably not going to be frames for me. You'll probably never see frames or motors because I do not believe that there is a sufficient value in selling improved motors. Sufficient value, by that I mean a large percentage of which enough is noticeable by the average pilot and is worth the amount it costs. I don't believe that exists. So you're not going to see motors, my name, or frames. Definitely not that. Sunrise. Bacon Ninja motor is going to make a huge difference. I just said no, Sunrise. I just said no to that. Pink Hulk. Yeah, that's kind of what I thought. Like She-Hulk. I thought She-Hulk. Off axis. But those MEPS motors, MEPS tried so hard. Like I've had 4 emails from MEPS about testing their motors. And the first time I pretty much said hell no, because I don't want to test motors. And then the second time I was like, if you want me to give some of these away in a giveaway, I have a thing coming up. You can do that. And then they never wrote me back. And then they've since wrote me 2 more times asking if I'd review their motors. The only reason I reviewed those T-motor motors the other day is because they were genuinely a good price for what I thought would be a good motor and a viable upgrade on the V2 when it comes to some specific things that were going on with the V2. So I decided to take those from T-motor, and I did do a review on them. But, yeah, random motors, no. Sunrise, I did see your vid about motors, so I was joking. I know. I typed it before you said that, yeah. Okay, so we have the top plate back on, and here's the dilemma. I can either run this here and figure out what to do with the pack, but you notice this is an XT60. My packs are going to have an XT30, not these. They're 6S packs, but they do have the same lead length. So the problem is going to be this. I can put this here, but then I've got to get an XT6230 adapter, which one of these. And the problem is I find myself having to deal with like wires wrapped around wires, right? It becomes a nightmare to get this right when you have one of these. And you're probably thinking, we'll just use a 6S with an XT60 on it. Yes, I could do that, but I have other 6S quads that use an XT30. Well, just put an XT30 on this. Yes, I could do that, but sometimes I want to run a 1300 milliamp hour on top of here, and it has an XT60 on it. So it makes the most sense to have an XT60 on this quad and XT30 on the battery. So we're going to figure out the orientation here. How many people spend their time doing this? Like putting a pack on when you build a quad. I think this is exactly why I did it this way, by the way, because I think I can do it. If you can see that on camera, right? So if I put it on there and I tuck that back, right? So I'll have Velcro strap over it, and then I can just, yeah, do it like this and have it all contained back here. Maybe. How many people spend this much time figuring out how a pack goes on a quad when they build it? I definitely do. I spend forever doing it. I don't know if I even like that. The alternative would be to move this over to the other side. But yeah, Flush FPV says they make an XT60 to XT30 adapter with no wires. They do. And it's significantly smaller than this. It's just super stiff. So you get like a piece that is this long and is stiff, and it just makes everything stick out. I have a few of those, and I might try it. But I'm trying to figure out exactly where I want this because I want to pin it down. If you don't ever have, if it's not something you do commonly on your quads, you should always have a strain relief on your XT pigtail. Because when you go to pull the pack out in a crash, whatever it's attached to is coming with it. And if the next thing it's attached to is not a zip tie on something that you can yank on, if it's your flight controller, the pad's coming with it. So you should always have strain relief. And I want to know how much strain relief I need before I tie it down permanently. But it is hard whenever you're dealing with this much wire, for sure. Off axis. I wish XT30 on small batteries would be a standard length. Dude, I wish a lot of leads would be a standard length. Like these are the same size as my G&B ones, which is about 3 inches. And my G&B 6S is what I fly most. But I have some that are like, you know, this short. What do you do with that? Whenever you plan for that, you don't. You just don't. What's up, Northern Tier FPV? Yeah, King Keck. I spend most of my time trying to figure out how to put the cap on. I spent forever figuring out how to put the cap on this quad because it was just not convenient. I'm gonna get the straps for this quickly out of the bag. By the way, this artwork that is on the Grinderino frame is one of my favorite drawings. If I could print this in a very large format oil painting and hang it on my wall, I would. In fact, who drew this? It doesn't say who drew it, but someone for Oh My God drew this. And whoever they are, if they want to send it to me directly in a high-res photo, I won't sell it to anyone. Don't worry about that. I will print it. I will send it to one of those services to have a large oil painting made of it and hang it in my studio because I think it's awesome. Brandon Beans, what's up? It works so quickly on other people's drones, and for my drones, it takes like a week. You work so quickly on other people's drones, and your drones take like a week. Yeah, I get that, buddy. Wait a minute. They put 2 metal pieces on here. That's cool. That's a cool thing. We're going to find out what that's for. It's not something you normally see. They normally just put the last buckle on. Okay, so the Oh My God logo's there. Yes, I'm going to orient my battery straps for the best logo appearance because I can. I don't need to at all, but I'm gonna. I pushed up my cap. There we go. That's tight. That's tight. Tight in there. All right, so let's assume that is where I'm going to put it. Let me just strap this in. This battery might be a little big for these straps. It is. It is a little big for these straps. What are these straps made for? Like the world's smallest 4S batteries, I guess. This is a 4S pack. Off axis is just an extra loop. Yeah, I'm thinking it's one for like when you have excess, you know, you could slide it over, which is pretty nice because you can't really replace the other one. It's not like you can tear that out and put another loop there. But you can loop them together and make longer ones out of 2, or make sure you don't have excess. Anyway, so let's plug this in here. Let's see what happens. Let's see where we're going to go with this. I don't want to do, oh God, it's actually not bad. It is. It's bad. I can't do it. I can't do it. I can't do that to myself. So realistically, that is the best situation, is with the XT60 like on the side of the pack right there. And then this comes back around the back and attaches. But then you've got this flippity floppity getting in the property. I don't like that. If I do it in a way that my XT60 faces directly up, I could accomplish the same thing, except now this wire pokes forever up, and when I crash it on its top, I'm going to crush it. Let us be free to fly. Been forever trying to figure out how to put a double cap on my Quadmula frame. Yes, I said it correctly, Quadmula. Yeah, that double cap thing on there is tough, man. It is really tough. You can either put a giant single on or the double smallers, and you have to thoroughly think through how to squash those suckers in there. Brandon Beans, I'm exceptionally lazy. Need some kind of energy. Well, welcome to the live stream. I'll provide all of it that I can. I don't have any energy either. I want to take a nap right now. In fact, I think the second half of this live stream should just be me sleeping. If I just fall asleep right now, will you guys continue to like talk amongst yourselves while I sleep in this chair? Probably not. Shorten the wires, says Robert G. Yeah, I could shorten the wires. The problem is, and I can simulate shorten the wires right here. If I shorten the wires, let's say that best case, that is what it looks like, right? So if I shorten the wires to where nothing tucks out from under the frame, okay, that's what it looks like. Then I still can't do this. Then I still have the issue with that sticking up. So that's why I didn't shorten the wires, because I thought maybe I would have to come forward and do something like that. But I really don't want to get it in the prop line. The prop line comes real close to there. It is very, very close. Yeah, print a standoff mount for the XT60. That's what I'm thinking. That's why I'm sitting here doing it like this, because I think that I'm going to have to design something to do this the way I want it to do it. And in fact, I may wind up having to like undersling this whole thing under here. That's hard to explain, but I'm thinking that I might be able to print a mount that actually slings the XT60 directly out the side. And so you just plug into it and wrap up. But it's going to depend on how much space I have, because I'm not 100% sure on this. But it is tough to get proper spacing, because even if you just come up with the most minimal amount of wire, it still shoots up to forever. The only other way to do it would be to come out the rear, and I can do that too. But then you could get into all other situations. King Kick, I hate those straps. They're not bad. They need to be a little longer. Then you get into like this situation where if I came up with an XT30, it would be fine, right? Let's say it was coming up right here at the tail. If I came up with an XT30, it'd be fine, except for when I go to crash and crush that. If I do it with the XT60 adapter, then I've got like this whole nightmare of wire that I've got to figure out what to do with. And you can't fly with that dilly dangling around. So yeah, I usually spend like an hour and a half figuring out how I want to put the pack on when I build a quad, just because of this stuff. My wife used a "that's what she said." You guys are getting the real experience, the authentic my wife experience. Yeah, let us be free. I did it with Murder's. Murder's a great guy, by the way, and added shrink wrap on exposing cap wires. Yes, a new rap song by Beyonce. She don't want no short fat strap. Sounds like a new rap song by Beyonce. Off axis. I like it. Beyonce will take that now, though, and copyright it. You've lost the idea to time. You should have copyrighted it before you set it on YouTube. because now Beyonce is going to make all the money and you'll get none of it. King Kick. So thick and too short. What are we building? I was late, says Sour Sham. We were finishing up the Grinderino. If you're just now checking in, yeah, I've got all of the TPU parts designed and printed for it. You should never build it the way I built it, but I'll go over that in a video and explain exactly why I would not pick some of the parts that I picked for this, although I will fly it this way because this is how I want to fly it, and you can. I just wouldn't recommend someone go out and build it this way. Yeah. Last couple things I got to do is figure out how the crap I want to put the battery on in the best orientation, and then probably print some stuff. CPTGG, I attached the drone lead to the arm with a tie and then added the battery, and you'll see it would fit perfectly. I can show you one day. Yeah. Are you talking about like zip tying it to the arm? Up, down, sideways, left or right? What do you mean? I'm confused. I zip tied my ELRS antenna to the arm. Prop junkie. No, we're not giving you this because you lost your Demibot. I hate that you lost your Demibot, but I can't give this one away actually. Yeah. Unfortunately, I can't give a lot of things away that I have to still review. I have a whole bunch of stuff that I will eventually give away when I'm done reviewing it, but I still have a whole bunch of stuff to do with this Grinderino. Yeah, I know it's disappointing. King Keck says, don't like the Quadmula frame. Quad did it wrong again. Quadmula frames as they are now, too thin on the top plate, and the countersunk screw holes on the back are really bad weak point. It depends on what you're doing with them. I have some feedback from some people about the exact same stuff you just said. Usually they're the kind of people that tend to do more bando stuff. I am not one of those people. I am a spang pilot. So even spang over concrete, the chances of me cracking stuff on the back of the top plate are low because I'm really not going to ram anything into the rear of the top plate. But you're not wrong. I just think that, you know, for some things they are better than others. And what they really excel at is precision freestyle flying. I think they're really good for that. If you want to go bashing, they're probably not your pick for bashing. They're not going to like hold up to every bando. King Keck says, I broke one frame on grass and then another in bandos. Yeah, bandos I can see. Grass, I've never broke a Quadmula on grass. I probably had, I don't know. I have a bunch of Quadmula frames now. I probably clashed 300-400 times in grass, gravel, concrete, packed dirt, trees, sidewalks, that kind of stuff. And never so much as even delaminated an arm. And I did like 60 or 70 miles an hour into some of that stuff. Now that is with the F5 Split. The Split Mini has thinner stuff. Are you talking about the Split or the Split Mini that you crashed in grass and broke? I'd be interested to know. Yeah, they fly real smooth though, King Keck says. I got a love-hate relationship with that frame. Yeah, I mean, and for bandos, no, I would not take it bando bashing. That I can totally believe. Kirikos. So what would you recommend as a 3.5 inch for heavy bando use? For heavy bando use, the Flyfish Volador 3.5 inch seems to be a pretty good basher. This will be a good basher too. There's some people that say they have problems with the arms breaking on this, but I think I know why. And I think I can show you how to fix that. So this with the right build is a good basher too. But I've got to crash this a whole bunch more times before I endorse that any further. But the Flyfish, yeah. Yeah, King Keck, never broke an arm on the Split 5, only the top plate on both. That is so weird, man. What are you doing to these quads? What are you doing? My wife says ramming things in the rear are never good. Yeah. You should avoid ramming things into the rear. And that's how you'll stop breaking them. Market Zero, Apex Micro is tough. Yeah, it's a little out of date, though. I don't know. I feel like it's a little out of date. If I was going to get an Apex Micro, I'd probably consider, if I wasn't bando bashing, specifically for bando bashing, the Volador is good. If I just wanted in general, though, the AOS 3.5 is good. I would probably look at Quadmula. They have some other stuff that you know, eventually will compete in in specific categories. But the Apex is kind of an older design, honestly. I think a lot of people are kind of pushing back on the Apex design because it has been around so long. But they did update the micro most recently. The 5-inch frame they haven't updated a whole lot. I think the micro they did an update to not that long ago when they did the 7-inch. So yeah. Buy extra mid plates for the Demibot Grinderino, King Kick says. Yeah, I could see why. I could see why you say that for mid plates. However, I also think I know how to fix it, and I think I've done that. So we will do that in the video. I can't show it in the live stream because that would take away the whole video. It's anticipation, man. But no, I think that I know how to do it. Hey, King Keck, if you are you in my Discord? I don't remember if you're in my Discord. If you are, if you happen to have a Demibot with a broken mid plate, if you have any pictures of when you broke it and how you broke it, I'd be interested to see. In fact, if anybody has any pictures of a Grinderino that broke the mid plate, I would really enjoy looking at them. I'd like to see where it broke and how it broke, so I can kind of validate some. I thought you were King Keck, so I can kind of validate some of my suspicions on why that breaks, because I think I have an idea of how to not break that. Let us be free. Mine broke on a telephone pole cable. Those are stiff though. Telephone pole cables are like no messing around. Those things are actually pretty tough. Global Source says I broke the top plate of my Quadmula as well as the back screws. Yeah, I think if anybody's broken anything on the Quadmula frames that I've seen, it's usually been the top plate. And sometimes the mid plate right along the seam, but very rarely, and usually it's a top plate. For sure. King Kick says, I think I landed on the battery too much, but my batteries never went to hell, just in top plates. Yeah, and the top plates are the thinnest point. So it's totally possible. Yeah, send me some pics, though. I'd love to see. Just crashing, trying Maddie's power loops and ripping bandos. Yeah, send me some pictures. Show me all your broken Grinderinos. William NS. I didn't say hi. Hi, William NS. How's it going? See you in here now. He says, I have 4 Quadmula frames that I have broken. Haven't broken a thing on any of them. I love Quadmula frames. I fly Volador for bashing, though. Yep, I can understand that. The Volador is king of sledgehammer. If you want to bash, you're going to fly Demibot or Volador. That's basically where I would go to for straight up. I want to hit as much concrete as possible and fly home. But mostly, a lot of that is contributed to by the fact that they are just chunky, thick frames. They're thick boys. They're going to hold up longer just because they have the weight and durability and material to do it. Where, you know, a Quadmula is not that, because they're also trying to. Quadmula is trying to target more finesse in the flight, so much than brute force when hitting things. So definitely a trade-off. Yeah, Global Source. The channel, yeah, I'm trying to read. My eyes are blurry. I'm just like sweating in my eyeballs now. I don't want to pay the crazy shipping for a top plate, so I have it on the shelf. Yeah. Yeah, the shipping is not great. The shipping from Quadmula is not great. Sometimes it's terrific, and other times it's really slow. But I'm hoping that pretty soon we have stateside suppliers of Quadmula parts. That'd be awesome, wouldn't it? Maybe they release something new someday. Yeah, maybe. Maybe they will. Maybe they will. Maybe they are. Who knows? I don't know anything. I'm just over here playing with my fists. What else should I design for this? What kind of TPU parts are you guys looking for in your Grinderinos? Like I said, I have the camera mounts for a micro or nano that I've drawn. I've got rear panels, which this is not my final design. I am redesigning this a bunch. But I've got rear panels with and without ELRS for a Vista antenna, for various popular antennas, for this, the HD0, which is actually surprisingly the exact same antenna as Walksnail, so you can use it for Walksnail too. And then, you know, obviously the feet. I'm thinking about doing an XT60 holder. That's why I'm kind of pinning out where I want to put it so I can design it around that. But what kind of other TPU stuff are you guys looking for on this? I'm interested to know so that I can spend next weekend drawing all of it and, trying to figure out what looks right and what doesn't. I want to load this thing down with as much TPU as possible because it's not heavy enough now. Make it heavier. It's only 400 grams. I have a fake mini GoPro with a Mountain Vampire made me. That's cool, Flush. Vampire's cool. Cool guy. Yeah, fake mini GoPro for this, or like just a dummy load. They call them dummy weights because you can fly with it as a dummy weight. But I am going to make camera mounts for this too. It has a really wide camera mounting position. These 4 screws are nice and wide set and should make for really good camera mounting. Williams and S. Yep. Quadmula supplier in the US would be awesome. It would be awesome. They really need that. I don't doubt that is in the works somehow. I don't have any information on it. No one has told me anything, but I don't doubt that it's something they have thought about and really try. Crash and burn. A Hulk camera mount. Yes. I can't do it, though. I am not that good with Blender. I can do stuff in Blender, but not that good. I am gonna have to get Vitrafly to do that for me. And I've thought about that. If you haven't seen Vitrafly's GoPro mounts, you should definitely go check out his stuff. He draws the most badass GoPro mounts. A lot of them are for the Quadmula frames because he flies a lot of those frames. But he uses Blender, and he is a terrific artist, and he makes the most insane camera mounts out of TPU. And I'm thinking that I should ask him to draw me a Hulk one for this and just commission him to do that as part of my package, because I'm going to package it with, the fists for punching too. So you'd get the fist, you'd get a Hulk camera mount, which I can modify to different cameras, and the rest of the TPU parts is a kit. But I think it'd be really cool. Yeah. Flush FPV says for the Grinderino. So you have a fake mini GoPro for the Grinderino. You talking about like the 10? I think the 10 would fit here pretty well. But I'm thinking the RunCam Thumb Pro is probably going to be a really good pick for the top of this thing. I don't really care for the Thumb Pro's footage though, which is disappointing. But I didn't want to put an O3 Air Unit in that because I don't feel like it's going to live through it. Keep TV Hulk face GoPro mount. Yep, I'm totally down for that. I'm going to have to get Vitrafly to do it though. How about a RunCam Thumb 4K Pro mount? Yeah, I already have actually RunCam Thumb mounts for this because I know that's going to get run on here. I have RunCam Thumb. I have the Insta360 Go 2 and 3. I think it's called the 3. So I have those because those are small format cameras for this. Also the DJI Action. Obviously, that's going to fit on here. What I haven't done is bigger cameras, like big GoPro 10s and 9s and stuff. So, because I feel like those are going to be really uncommonly run on this Grinderino. I don't think you'd want to run a 200-gram camera on this quad. I really don't think so. But there's only one more thing to do to this, other than all the Betaflight setup, which I'm going to do later, because if you are just now joining in, if you use the Argus AIO in your build, the Axis Flying Argus, and you decide to use something like a Vista or a 1-watt V2 transmitter from HD0, there's a really good chance you're not going to be able to plug your USB in with the board screws attached. So I have to literally take my flight controller's nuts off to separate its nuts to be able to get to the USB. So we're not going to do the Betaflight setup, but I do need to put props on it. So I'm gonna sit here and put props on while I read all your messages. Who all has more questions? Let's answer some questions. I'm ready to answer some oddly specific questions that aren't personal. But if they're personal, I think about it. Maybe I'll answer it. Who knows? My wife is in the chat, so it's gonna depend on how personal it is. Yeah, global source, set up Betaflight through ELRS. I absolutely am going to. The thing I'm not going to be able to do is, well, there's a couple things I'm not going to be able to do first. I need to get the board alignment and stuff done before I do all that. It's not a big deal. I don't mind having the stuff off of the flight controller, but I would not recommend it to others, and that's why I'm not gonna recommend others do that. Brandon Beans, do I ever fly long range? Not really. I'm just not much of a long range person. For one, there's nothing to look at that's pretty where I live that's long range. Unless you just like endless fields of cotton, there's not a lot to see. If I had mountains to surf or lakes to cross or any of that stuff, I would be totally into it. I have flown a little over a mile before, with obviously taking all the necessary precautions, but that's about as far as I've gone, and I don't do it very regularly. But I have a whole group of people in the Discord that do like long range, and they talk about it a lot. They got some crazy builds. Someone's building a 10-inch, and a couple people are building 7 inches. Yeah, some really cool stuff. But I flew a 4-inch a little over a mile, and that's about as much as I've done with long range. I just don't spend a lot of time with it. It's not pretty at all around here to, go very far, unless you want to see more dirt or more cotton. All right, let's see. Sour Sham, I love TPU feet. Yeah, thanks. Thanks for loving my TPU feet. They're nice. There's all the props on it, by the way. This is what it'll look like. This is fully built Grinderino. You guys helped me build it on stream. So most of this was built live. Very little of it I did myself on the bench. Brandon Beans, what about flying with buddies? I used to fly with a buddy, and I say singular because there's just no pilots here. There was a small group of people that were like wing pilots and FPV pilots, but they're not very active. There was one guy who flew quite a bit, but now he flies agricultural DJI drones, and he just doesn't FPV that often. But other than that, there's no one that flies within a 2-hour drive of here, which is kind of a bummer. I'd love to fly with people. I'd love to have people over to my house now that I have land to fly, but yeah, I don't get the opportunity very often anymore. And even when I did, it was just with the one guy because there just wasn't a whole lot of people here. William and S, I like the footage from the Caddx Walnut better than the Thumb Pro. But even with those options, I usually wind up flying a Hero 9 or 11 because the footage is so much better. Yeah, especially when you want to color grade it. I love a GoPro for color grading for sure. But I haven't messed with the Walnut very much. I've had a couple small experiences with it, but I haven't got to have it long enough to really, put it through its paces like I did with the Orange and the Thumb. I still love my Orange, but I'd rather fly a GoPro. Absolutely. Any day of the week, I'd pick a GoPro. I wish they would make another session. I think all of us wish that would happen, but I don't know that we're ever going to get that. Brandon Beans, my wing guys like to fly because they do it easily, and I like to tag along sometimes. I tried to chase a wing one time, and I was done. But to be fair, I had only been flying FPV for a month, and then the wing wasn't just a normal size wing. It was like a 12-foot wingspan wing that went ridiculous amounts of speed at ridiculous altitudes, and I literally couldn't see it. I was flying analog, and it was just a speck in the sky. She was not flying low to the ground. There was no way I could keep up with that thing. So I lost it constantly, and I couldn't keep up with it. But I tried once to chase a wing for what it's worth, even though no one will ever see any footage of it. But yeah. Offback says, what's long range all about? Asking for a friend. It's going long range. You go out a long way. Some people, it's a different kind of rush. I totally get it. You build a machine. In my case, I build these freestyle rigs because I want to push the limits of them for freestyle. I want to take this 3.5 inch and I want to thrash the ever living crap out of it until it can't do it anymore and figure out why. And then I want to make it do it even harder by fixing whatever I find out, right? It's a challenge to figure out how to do it better, faster, and further in the case of long range. So you still got to put a lot of effort into planning, and you got to take into consideration GPS and where you're going to go and how you're going to get back. And it's in a different kind of adrenaline rush. It's not one that I find to be my favorite thing. Actually, I'm surprised to see that Bot Grinder does a lot more long range than I thought he would do. I used to watch some of his earlier long range videos, and even he thought it was going to be boring, but then he gets super excited about it. I don't know. It's its own thing for sure. And if you have a place to do it, it's one thing, but literally, unless you just want to see endless rows of cotton and red dirt, don't do it here. It's rough. It's rough here. There's nothing to look at long range. Mercury Moyes. Hoof trotter TPU feet would be sweet. Put some little hooves on there. I should do that, like a pig snout. Someone earlier said a pig snout GoPro mount. I should make a pig snout and then hooves to land with. That'd be really cool. I don't know that I could ever, like, no one would ever print another set, but I could do it. It'd be fun. Ugh. H2O. I guess we all need to go for a visit. Well, if you ever find yourself in the middle of nowhere, Texas, then get on Discord and let me know you're there, because I'm probably there too. Literally the middle of nowhere, though. It can't be the north of nowhere or the south of nowhere. It has to be the middle. Brandon Beans. It's so fun to fly at miles out, then turn around and realize your speed just dropped to a crawl and your amps are as high, and you try to claw back into a headwind. Yeah, it's stuff you don't even consider in freestyle. Like, I got there, but can I get back? Is it even possible? If I go down here, can I find my quad? It's really crazy. It's a whole different kind of rush. It's just not one I get to mess with very often, but a lot of people love it. And if I ever find myself in a state with beautiful scenery, I'm going to try it. I just am not in a part of this state that would allow that. Kirikos, how's the giveaway going? It's going well. I should have picked the winners yesterday, but alas, I did not. I got too busy with family stuff. And then today, I have been also very busy. And so I'm going to pick the winners after the live stream. I know it says on the sheet that I should have done it, but it'll be done before the weekend. And yeah, it's fine. Everybody gets to still enter until I pick it. So it's actually just a little bit of extra time for everyone. And yeah, I will get those picked, and you'll probably see the winners come out of phase 2 on Monday. I'll probably pick them tonight and then announce them tomorrow. I'll send out emails and all that stuff tonight so that the winners can know as soon as possible. But yeah, phase 1 still going. I have almost everything shipped out. I'm still trying to ship out the gate sets. Apparently, finding a correctly sized box that doesn't cost $500 to ship overseas is near impossible when it comes to something the size of a set of gates. So that was not the case when I started the giveaway series. Like, I had checked all that stuff before I, decided to accept the shipping contingencies, and it changed very rapidly, for sure. Let us be free. Long range is pushing the wallet to lose more. It is. Absolutely. For sure. Prop Butcher. Anyone try the old 60 FPS Vista cams on the Goggles 2? I did yesterday, and it was surprisingly okay. Seemed way better than on the V2 goggles. Yeah, well, the Goggles 2 have the OLEDs. So the V2 goggles are going to be LCD, which is, I don't know if the Integras have LCDs or OLEDs, but the OLEDs are going to make everything look a little bit better when it comes to picture quality. The thing that I don't like when I'm flying older DJI cams on the Goggles 2 is that I can't do it in 120 hertz mode. That's more important to me. I don't care as much about the color or the video. I would rather have the lower latency numbers. So you can only go up to 100 FPS on the Goggles 2. Yeah. And yeah, there's 60 FPS anyway. So what does that matter? Exactly. But if you're flying, like, I think it was the Polars that for a while that only had 60 FPS cameras. But it will look better with the OLEDs in the Goggles too. Every time it will look better. For sure. Off axis. I live in BC, Canada. Have a bunch of great long range flights. I bet you do. It's beautiful there. If I had that kind of scenery, I'd do it too. Absolutely. Absolutely, I would. I see a lot of people do like mountain surfing in states like Colorado, or they live near an ocean and they surf out on the edge of the beach and stuff. And yeah, I could fly cotton fields. I mean, maybe the challenge I could do is if I could like fly a quad down a row of cotton and never whack the cotton on either side. Maybe, but that's about as good as it's going to get. And it's going to look boring. It's going to look terribly boring. For quad's sake, what's up? Jumping into the stream late. We got about 30 minutes left. My knee is starting to hurt pretty terribly, so I might have to cut this one off a little bit early. We normally go 2 hours. I might have to go at an hour and a half this time because I've got this thing tucked under the desk, and it is literally killing me right now. But any other questions you guys have, go ahead and get them in. I'll try to read through all of them before we end, and answer anything I can. There's quite a few of you here. Little one-on-one, what's up? Send all your questions. We're pretty much done with the Grinderino. I just now have to go send it as hard as I can and see what I break first. Well, I got to program it first. I got to get ELRS on it and things, which I'm not going to do on a stream because that's super boring. Nobody wants to see me program Betaflight on this. And I've done a whole video about it anyway. But I think it's going to be a fun build. I definitely think it's going to be a lot of fun to fly. And it looks good. It's very pink, though. I don't know what it is about pink lately. I am so into pink when building quads. So into pink and teal lately. It's not typical. Like, that's the only thing I really care for that color scheme in. But I like it. I like it. Global Source, how often do you run 1300 6S on my F3? I don't know. I probably do it. So usually what happens when I'm flying the F3 and I want to run a 1300 is I have extra packs. So I have 6 of my 550 packs that I usually run. And I will take my F3 and I'll probably get out a Siren, F5 or the F5 Mini, and I'll fly. And usually when I'm running the 1300s, it's because I have flown the other bigger quads and I have crashed them and broke something like a camera or a cable or an antenna. Usually, well, never the frame, but all the other stuff that I break on them. So I'll put them down and I'll still have like 3 big packs charged. So I'll run all 6 of my smaller packs and then I just run all the 1300s and I get like, ridiculous amounts of time on them. But basically I always wind up running out at least one 1300 every time I fly the F3. So usually every time I take the F3 out, I've run at least one 1300 full-size 6S on. Robert G, pink and teal Miami Vice colors. Yeah. That is kind of it. Maybe that's it. Maybe I have that. Like I am wearing my like beach FPV shirt. This is from FPV Crate before FPV Crate was not a thing anymore. For quad's sake, I like the bright green TPU. Bright green's a cool color. I don't think I have any. Nope. I don't have any. I have some yellow and I have like dark green and red and a lot of pink, but I don't have any bright green TPU. Maybe I'll get some. Maybe I'll get some and try to change my mind about how I build quads and color schemes lately. Let's see. What's up? What's up, everybody? There's a whole bunch of comments now. I asked for comments and now I have to read them all. Willie FPV, hello. I'd like to ask about the Nano 90. So you have the same feeling as I that it sucks in low light. Nano and Micro V2 are way better. 720/60 for freestyle is gold standard for me. Yeah. So it's a nano camera. That's going to be why the low light's worse. I would say though the Nano and Micro V2 cameras, I feel like I get the same low light performance out of the Nano V2. Now the Micro V2 is different. The Micro V2 has a larger sensor, so its low light performance is not as bad as the Nanos. But I feel like the Nano 90 and the Nano V2, I get about the same low light performance out of. But you're always going to get worse low light performance out of a Nano unless it is specifically designed to be a Starlight or low light, low lux Nano. In which case, you're just going to get a bunch of noise when it does get dark. But there are a lot for smaller quads that are designed specifically for low light. But yeah, the Micro V2 is way better at low light handling for sure. I would say the Nano 90 and the Nano V2 are on par with their low light handling. And I am perfectly fine with 720p 60 as well when it comes to consistent latency and freestyle. The 90 hertz is nice. The 540 90 is nice, but it's not a mode I find myself in all the time. There are some days when I feel like I can push it that extra little bit in 540 90, but 720p at 60 is perfectly acceptable in almost every case. Absolutely. Prop Butcher, I'm trying to repurpose a set of 2807 from a 7-inch I got. Any good recommendation for a 6-inch chase rig frame? Ooh, a 6-inch chase rig frame. Who makes a 6-inch? There's just not a ton of 6-inch frames. Most of them are going to be 5 and 7 inches. Oh man, somebody's got to make a 6 though. I wonder if Jack's 3D Printing makes a 6 in their Triton line. Does he have a 6-inch? I think he does. You might check into that. I want to say he might have a 6-inch Triton, and that might be a really good frame. I've heard really good things about it, and I've seen a lot of really good smooth flight chases, a lot of cruise footage, and I believe a lot of freestyle with his 6-inch frame. But correct me if I'm wrong. I think he has one, and I would check that out. A little one-on-one. Miss all the FPV crates. I do too. I used to love FPV crate. I used to really enjoy the FPV crate, but I get why they went out of business. It's hard to consistently have new products at a price you can afford to send people in that kind of format. It is almost near impossible, and that's why they all just kind of fell on the wayside. Keep TV. The props that I have on this would be the Hurricane 3520 gym fans. They are 3.5 by 2 by 3. So that's the 3520s. What I don't like so much is that they have these little adapters. So I still got the bag. If you want to use T-mount, I'm not a huge fan of the little adapter option because it means that the holes in the props aren't perfectly round either. So if you hit something, you're more likely to destroy a prop. But we're going to see how they go. I have other HQs in the box too that are not that same design, and I'm going to switch back and forth till I find one I like. For quad's sake, they do a rainbow TPU, which can be interesting. Yeah, they do a lot of cool like filament colors, like silks and stuff, but not in TPU, obviously. But you get in some crazy colors. I've printed in wood a couple of times. I've printed a bunch of carbon fiber. I have done a couple of silk prints and some temperature changing prints. I have yet to print in ASA though. I need to print in ASA. It's a material I have not yet experimented with. I'm currently printing a bunch of Pet G inside the house right now for the kids. I'm making the kids some stuff, but yeah, I need to get some ASA. But I need to enclose my printer first before I print ASA. For quad's sake, Volador Flyfish do a 6-inch. Yeah, they do a 6-inch. It's probably going to be a little on the heavy side. I mean, in 6 inches, it's not going to matter as much if it's a little heavy because usually the weight for thrust difference compared to 5-inch. So going from 5-inch to 6-inch is not a giant leap in weight, but it is a much larger leap in thrust potential. Going from 5-inch to 7-inch, depending on the battery you're using, can be a larger leap in weight than 5 to 6-inch for the same or just about a little bit more thrust potential. So 6 inches is a really good middle ground. It just crashes harder because the arms are longer. So, take it for what you want. I've seen a lot of Triton 6-inch though that I really was surprised by. I had not seen much Flyfish 6, but it could be really good. I know that a lot of people have their 5-inch, but a lot of people like that Triton too. William and S, both in Dead Cat and X. Yeah. I don't have too many Dead Cat frames either. I fly a lot of True X and Squished X. I have 2 Dead Cats up there, I think, that I fly pretty often. Mystery 2024 build question. All right. I will use the 3 style frame, 3-inch, and some 1404 motors. Should I fly on 4S or 3S? 4S is heavier and more expensive, but some people say the power is the same. What you recommend? So on 1404s, it depends on what you want to do with your flight style. 1404s on a 3-inch prop are acceptable if you keep the weight down low. So as long as you're not going to run something that's going to be over 220 grams on a 1404, if you put a 4S on it, it's going to be pretty zippy. You're going to be able to get up to some really good speed, and you're going to be pretty responsive. You're going to have to run a lower size 4S though, because like I said, the weight is going to be very important. If you run 3S, you're going to lose some to voltage, but you can make up for that a little bit in KV. So you'd run higher KV motors to make up for the difference in voltage by going from 4 to 3S. And that way you can achieve the same amount of top end speed, but your base thrust, your torque on the low end is going to be vastly different, and your response will be vastly different. I would fly it on 4S. That's all to say. I would fly it on 4S. I just wouldn't use very big 4S packs. I have some 320 milliamp hours or 350 milliamp hour packs, and then I have some I want to say they're like 220 milliamp hour 4S packs that I fly lower weight stuff on. With 1404s, that would be pretty snappy. But I would still run 4S, and I just target a low weight. That's where I'd go with it. Manny Martinez, I'm building my first 1/10 scale FPV 4x4 off-road RC truck, building with analog first, then we'll install walk snail. Nice. I have an analog one. I have a Red Cat. I forgot what the name of it is, but it's their big, like, their big wheeled bogger. It's made for a lot of speed, and I put a gigantic brushless motor in it, and it will literally do 70 miles an hour on the ground. I put FPV in that. It was analog only, though. I didn't do digital, but it's been a long time, and I just didn't want to blow up any nice digital gear. But FPV with road cars is a lot of fun. You'll probably really enjoy that, Manny. Prop Butcher, what's a few places to find non-standard FPV frames, like ones not popular on race day quads and get FPV? It is really hard. There are a lot of people who make really great frames right in their garages. A ton of them that you probably never heard of before that are completely worth your time and money to get and look at. But there's just not a lot of places that offer them. You can't just go to the website for some store and find them in the search results. You've got to have heard of them from somebody or seen a review from a video. It's really hard to get word of mouth. I wish there was a way to really pinpoint those amazing creators that are doing it in their garage and get them the kind of audience they deserve for the work they're doing. I wish there was a way to accomplish that for people who maybe don't have the reach. Maybe they're just not great at the business end of having a quad business, but they are amazing frame designers. I wish that there was a better way to show all that off, like an Etsy of FPV. FPV Etsy or something where it's like homemade FPV gear, and made it easier for people. But as far as I know, there's not a really good way. You've basically got to ask around, check out some Facebook groups, read some reviews, watch some review videos, and hopefully someone has looked at it and has given it the proper time to pay attention to it. That's why I tend to do, if I'm going to do frames, I do a lot of Quadmula, but I've also done a lot of stuff by just people on my Discord that have reached out. And I've been interested and looked at it, and it turns out it was a really good frame, so I'll do a review on it. There's been a few of those, and they're totally worth your time. A little one-on-one. ASA printing is dangerous. Do be careful. Yes, it is slightly dangerous, but I need to have all the stuff to take the precautions, the filters, and the enclosure. I don't have all that yet, but yeah. Trey Cook, what HQ props? What HQ props for the 3.5? Hold on. Let me see. Let me dig through my bag of goodies. That's not them. That's not them. Oh, maybe they're not HQs. Maybe it's another. No, this is a different thing. I lied. I don't have any other ones. They're all 5 blades. I'm not going to run 5 blades on this unless you want to see me run 5 blade 3.5 inch on the Grinderino, because I have some Gym Fan and I have some HQ 5 blades. That's for a different project. I don't have any other HQ ones. My bad, Trey. Unless I've got them somewhere else. I don't have them in this box that I had all my parts for that project in. Willie, I was told AC0 is working on a new camera that will be capable of 540-90, 720-60, and 1080p30. I hope they use better sensor than the Nano 90. I have not heard. And I'm not saying I talk to Carl often. I talked to him not that long ago. I haven't heard anything about a camera that can do all of them. I know that there was a correction to my AC0 V2 video when I said that the Nano could do the 1080p30, but it cannot currently. I think, though, that they really need to update to the Micro V2. I think that if they added the 90 hertz mode to the Micro V2 that already supports 720p 60 and 1080-30, they would have a great product. They like to upgrade their Nano line, though, because a lot of smaller quads are good for HC0. But, yeah, I could see them upgrading the Micro. And I'd really like to see them do it. I don't have any info on it, though. But I would love for it to be a micro camera. Mystery says the 3-inch build is going to be super lightweight, under 250, even with a run cam thumb. Yeah, 1404 4S, and you will have fun all day long. in like 2400 to 2800. No, that's 6S kV. My bad. You want to go 2800 and up, above 3000 kV if you can. Like 3800 would be really good for 4S to have a whole lot of fun. You can do it on a 3000 kV 4S or a 2800 kV on 4S, but it's going to be kind of sluggish. So you want to be above 3000 kV on 4S with your 1404s on 3-inch. I would nearly run 4000 probably kV on that. But it depends on the motor you're going to pick or have already picked and what the options are for kV in that. Mystery asks, so I better use a 3S 650. I'd still use 4S, Mystery. I'd go 4S on it. And then just up the KV. Go up on the KV in 4S, and you will have a whole lot of fun with that quad. I promise you will enjoy it on 1404s as long as you stay under the 250 gram mark. Otherwise, it's going to get meh. Chibi says, CNC Madness has tons of sweet frames, lots of them open source too. Yeah, it's a good place to start out, CNC Madness. I've had some ups and downs with their carbon cutting. I don't know how much stuff I'd order from there just because I've had some bad quality carbon cut there before. Had it sent to me from there before. But they do have a ton of stuff. So if you want to just check it out, you can find some other stuff. Manny Martinez. I hit the wrong one. Manny Martinez asked, Did you ever hear why FPV exchange is coming down? I have no idea. But I do know a lot of people were very upset about it. Like a lot of people were trying to buy and sell, and then they got it all. They couldn't do a lot with FPV exchange down. So I would be interested to know why that happened. I'm sure someone knows. It's just not me. Let's see. Willie FPV. Where's my Freestyle X V2? Right here in this squad. It's right there. You can't really see it very well. Right there. Chilling out in the Grinderino. That's where it's going to live. I think that's the best place for it. That's a really good build to have a Freestyle V2 in. Like I said at the beginning of the stream, and I will reiterate a bunch of times, you should not build your Grinderino the way I've built this Grinderino, and I will do a full video in why you should not do that and what you should actually do instead. But I think that the V2 is a great addition to any Grinderino with the right considerations. What's up, Booster? Booster's here. Coming in the stream late. That's okay. We're going to hold on a few more minutes. My knee is killing me, so I'm probably going to wrap this up here in a minute. But I'm just going through all the questions everybody had. Prop Butcher, I like Tummo quads. Their frames were cool, but they disappeared. Sight down. That happens. Happens a lot with those smaller manufacturers. I look at the Jack's 3D Printing, the guy who makes the Tritons. He does very well. He's got good stuff. He has a large following. He has an FPV-focused Facebook group. He does really, really well. It'd be hard for him to just disappear because people still keep paying him for his frames. But a lot of the small ones, they might sell a few frames. They might get popular for a second. Then nobody wants to buy them again. And then things cost money and, they got shut down. It's really sad, but we should try to support the good ones. The ones that put in a lot of effort and have actually legitimately good frames, but can't afford to sell it to someone like an iFlight. We should really support them. And it does mean occasionally you're going to go to buy frame parts and they're not going to be there anymore. But that could happen with anything. That's not just small companies. H2O, that's amazing. Really small, that EC0 VTX. Yeah, it fits in there. Fits in there very well. You can never do that with the Freestyle V1. Booster's been running fire calls. Fire calls. I used to run fire calls. There was a time in which I was a firefighter for a very short amount of time. Well, it wasn't so short. It was a couple years. A couple years of my life I spent as a firefighter. You wouldn't believe so by looking at me, but I have run into flaming buildings and cut cars open. Yeah. I was much younger. Oh, Willie asked me, the review of my VTX was without flying. Yeah, I had flown it a little bit, though. So I had messed with it in flying a little bit, but nothing that I was going to, show everybody. Like, I did some range stuff, but it was boring. Also, when I got the VTX, it was, 3 days before release day, so I had to slap it in something and then test it really fast and then just talk about it. So I figured we were better off just talking about it. And then I'll do more follow-up on it as I put it in more things. So, yeah. But I fly everything before I try it. In fact, I've got a couple more reviews that I have specifically put off. Like, the products came out already. And I had them before the product came out, but I still haven't done a review video yet because I'm still just making sure how I feel about it by using it before I give the review. A couple of SpeedyBee things that I need to get around to reviewing, and they're like, "Hey, are you going to do that?" I'm like, "Yeah, eventually, whenever I have used it sufficiently," which I think I'm close to now. But I do that with a lot of stuff. I won't really talk about it unless I have really beat on it and I have an opinion on it. Otherwise, I'm not going to do anything with it. So, yeah, that's normally my process. Redeemed. I'm using 1404 30-100 kV on my sub 250 AOS 3.5. Super fun using 650 mAh 4S to keep weight down. Capable of flying 125 kilometers an hour. Yes, 1404 30-100 kV, so up and around the 4000 kV on a 3.5 inch. Yes, crazy flyer. I do 3000 kV on 6S, and I use a little smaller pack. So it equals out about the same, but it is super fast and a lot of fun. And if you did it with a smaller pack on 3-inch props, you could achieve very nearly the same thing, but probably not the same top speed. But yeah, we were talking about a 3-inch 4S build earlier. Pretty close to the same spec there would be pretty good. So yeah, Booster's been a firefighter since 2007. Yeah, when was I a firefighter? It would have been, let's see, like 2010-ish? Yeah. No, it was after that, like 2012, 2013. That's around when I was a firefighter. I don't miss the bunker gear and the hand-me-down bunker gear because I was a volunteer firefighter and that stuff was dank because they never bought new bunker gear. So you got somebody else's old turned-in bunker gear and it was stanky. Question from Mystery. Flywoo kind of scammed me. Well, they falsely advertised their Walksnail V2 VTX that it's 32 gigs. But after I bought it and got it shipped, they said it was 8 gigs. But on their website, it says 32 gigs. So there's two versions of the Walksnail VTX. One has 8 gigs and one has 32. I'd have to see the original page because usually what happens is you get to choose between the Walksnail Pro and the Standard. And the Standard has 8 gigs. The Pro has 32 gigs and gyroflow support. So it all depends on which one you pick. Now, if they specifically said that they had the VTX and the Pro Cam, the Pro VTX and Pro Cam in whatever this Flywoo product was, then that would be the 32 gig. It could be that they said standard, but they still wrote 32 gig in the spec and they need to go change their product page, in which case Flywoo should at minimum give you some kind of apology and like try to make it better. If you have contacted, you say you contacted them. Yeah, so it's 8 gig, but on their website. Yeah, you should totally contact Flywoo and explain to them that either their website is inaccurate with data or that it's too easy to order the wrong thing. Yeah, Mystery says even their order was 32 gigs. There's only one option. Furious about that. Yeah, if it's not the 32 gig, if it's the 8 gig that's in it, they should correct their product page. So, yeah, Mystery, it's the V2 cam, not the Pro version. Which, yeah, the Pro version would be the one that has 32 gigs. Now, you can have the Pro camera and the standard VTX and still get the Starlight performance, but no gyroflow and only 8 gigs. Or you can have the standard camera and have a Pro VTX that has the 32 gigs, but you don't get the Starlight performance. You can mix and match. But if it's the standard VTX, only 8 gigs. If they said it was 32 and it says it's a standard VTX, they should fix their product page for sure. Oh, yeah, Mystery said they try to cancel their order, but it's too late. Yeah, that happens sometimes. But they should at least try to help you and take care of some of it. You know, maybe they can offer you some kind of like 20% off coupon for your next order or something. That's probably as good as you're ever going to get from most places. But yeah, they need to fix their product page if that's the case. Still trying to figure out how to get a Crossfire Nano RX, says Booster. Yeah, I think you're not alone, buddy. I forgot what the whole supply chain thing was with that, but it's been hard. It's been really hard for everyone to get Crossfire stuff. Well, it is about 10 minutes to the hour. My knee is on fire because I've got it tucked under here and I literally cannot straighten it out. to keep it from hurting. So we're going to wrap up the live stream a little bit early, but if you're just now catching in or you didn't catch it at first, we have built the Grinderino. It is totally done. Now I have to go fly it. So I may fly some of it on a live stream, but what I think I'm going to do for sure, I may do some flying on a live stream, but for sure, I'm going to go fly it and then record it, and then we can look at the footage together and see what it does. Because you guys helped me build this through the last 3 live streams, so you can participate in its maiden flights too, because I think that's a whole lot of fun. I'd like to see what you guys think about it after I get some footage. There will be a whole video on it, though, about what not to do with your Grinderino build, because I have made some critical errors in mine, or errors. I knew they were problems. I used my own judgment to decide I still wanted to do them. But I'll give you some opinions and things you should or should not do with your Grinderino builds in the video. Anyway, I'm going to go put some ice on this knee. Thank you, King Keck, for posting the pics of the Demibot mid plates. I appreciate that. And thank you, everybody, for being here. A whole bunch of you. It has been a whole lot of fun. I will see you again next Sunday. I will schedule one of these. You can look for it next Sunday. We may not look at the footage from the Grinderino next Sunday. We may look at some other stuff. But I will do something fun. I'll get it together. And yeah, maybe I'll put some games together. Maybe we can play some games together that can embarrass me on a live stream, because those are always good. Anyway, I'll see all you guys later. Thank you very much. Until next time, stay greasy and enjoy the rest of your weekends.